So, a couple weeks ago, I ran into a complete stranger at the supermarket and we ended up talking about our mutual love for music. And during the conversation, it came out that I had written some songs and they were actually available on digital platforms like YouTube and Spotify. And she was like, "Wow, I've always wanted to write a song. How do you do it?" And it was then I realized that it's not something I could explain in just like that. So I said, let me do a YouTube video about how I actually write songs. So we're going to talk about that today. So, as far as writing songs for me, I need a backstory. I just can't write a song in an abstract way. I need a backstory. I guess some people would call that an inspiration. So, how do I come up with my inspiration for songs? Well, if there's no real life situation that I can relate to personally, then I usually extract my songs from experiences of other people, life experiences. And sometimes the experiences are totally unrelated, but I just mush them together and I make up a story and then I create a song based on that. So we're going to do that now. Let's create a backstory and then we can develop a song from that. So in creating the backstory, it must be something that people can relate to. My audience must be able to relate to the words in the song. Not just the words, but the sentiments, the feelings. So let me go ahead and create a story, and obviously I'm going to need characters in that story. So let's start off with this character right here. We're going to call him Tyrone. Wait, that's a stereotype. Let's not use that name. Let's call him Donovan. Yeah, Donovan is a nice British Jamaican name. So let's use Donovan. So Donovan is obviously a handsome guy. Now, Donovan is a young attorney. He's single. And there's this couple that lives next door. But it's kind of weird. He hasn't really seen the wife much. When he does see her, she's usually wearing like a heavy makeup, a relatively young couple. But Donovan is of the impression that this guy next door is probably physically abusing his wife, but he has no proof. So the mystery continues. And when he does see the wife on the very few occasions, he realizes that she's wearing heavy makeup. As for the husband, well, I'm not going to show his face, but this is him. A guy who goes to the gym, works out, and probably thinks he's God's gift to the world. But Donovan observes and he says, nah, something isn't right. Something is kind of off. And even though he feels that the wife is being physically abused, he doesn't have the proof. So one day, Donovan realizes that the couple is going to take a walk. Now, there's a park nearby, a very popular spot that people go to take a walk. So Donovan, for one reason or the other, says, you know what, I'm going to follow these people. Just an instinct. And he follows them. And he gets to this park, and the couple got there a few minutes before him. And, they have started walking. Donovan cautiously gets out of his vehicle, dismounts his bicycle, and he fortunately has a camera, and he starts to ride. But in riding, he realizes that the couple is already on the other side of the lake. So Donovan stops riding, gets off his bike, takes his camera out, and with the zoom lens, he zooms across the lake. And guess what? He can see that guy, that jerk, that loser hitting his wife. And so Donovan takes pictures of what is happening. So after gathering the evidence that Donovan realizes he has found by just instinct, just following and taking those pictures from a distance, he knows what kind of car the husband drives. And so the following day, when the husband is at the gym, Donovan walks up. Now, fortunately, they're in a strip mall where there are no cameras looking at the guy's car. So Donovan walks up and he sticks an envelope, a manila envelope, into the windshield of this next door neighbor's sports car. So once the next door neighbor is done with his session at the gym, he steps outside and guess what? He finds this manila envelope stuck inside his windshield. So he looks around, doesn't see anyone, opens the envelope, and he sees the pictures of him hitting his wife. But inside, there's a note. And the note says, "Stop abusing your wife right now. And if you don't, I'm taking this to the police." So, what does the guy do? Well, the next day, Donovan realizes that the guy is packing his stuff and moving out. When the guy leaves, the wife, she comes outside to pick up the garbage can and do some other stuff. And Donovan walks over to her and he looks at her face. And she's not wearing any makeup this time, but nevertheless she tries to use her hair to hide the scars on her face. So Donovan, he approaches her and he says, I don't mean to be nosy or anything, but if there's anything I can assist you with, let me know. So she says, he filed for divorce, so I guess I'm gonna need an attorney. So Donovan says to her, well, I'm an attorney, but that's not my specialty, but I could give you the number for one of my colleagues. She's very good. And she responds, yes, thanks. I would like that. And Donovan takes out his phone and he writes down his colleague's number and he writes it on the back of his business card and he gives it to her. But before she can walk away, he says, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Then she says, I'm Jennifer. And Donovan says, Jennifer, I have a confession to make. Of course, Donovan's words take her by surprise because practically they just met officially, and what he confesses is that he was the one who took the pictures and placed them on the windshield of her soon-to-be ex-husband's car. And after hearing that, she hangs her head, maybe in shame. Donovan quickly says to her, hey, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that he's an egotistical narcissist, but that somehow doesn't make her feel a whole lot better. And I guess it's because she is the one who made the decision to get married to him in the first place. And I guess people who suffer physical abuse, spousal abuse, it's not the person they hate, it's what the person does. Because at some point in the beginning of the relationship, there were things that the person saw that attracted them to that abuser. But now with the whole marriage thing in full swing, then that person's true colors come to light. But Donovan reassures her that she's not at fault, and even though that doesn't seem to comfort her, he says, well, I guess he would rather divorce you than change his ways. And those words seem to have struck a chord with her because she slowly begins to look up and Donovan says, be strong, okay? And I'm here. If you ever need anything, just give me a shout. So she takes his card and she says, okay, thank you. And then she walks away. A few days later, to Donovan's surprise, he finds out that the divorce was settled on mutual terms. She gets the house. He keeps everything else. And in talking to her, he says, so what are you going to do now? Then she lets him know that she's going to sell the house and she's going to be moving out of state to stay with a friend that her ex-husband doesn't know. Basically, she would be in hiding. Probably give him some time to cool down. So Donovan says, well, you know what? I understand you want to get away, and if you want to go as soon as possible, I can help with the sale of the house. That's my forte. That's right up my street. I can help you with that. So she agrees and contract is signed and he handles the sale of the home and she moves out of state, but he's basically her attorney. They have to communicate. But even after the house is sold, they continue communicating and they develop a friendship and Donovan falls in love with her. But what has happened is still fresh in her mind and heart. She's still hurt. But less than 6 months have passed and even though they talk a lot, Donovan just sees her as a former client slash friend who he hasn't shared a lot of time with physically being in her presence, just talking on the phone. But what he feels for her is so strong. They get along so well that he takes the next step and says that he would like to spend some more time with her, be in her presence. But her self-esteem is like on the ground right now, and she tries to tell him that, she's damaged goods and he deserves better and she needs to put her life together. She still doesn't seem to understand that she has her whole life ahead of her, and the fact that someone else rejected her and treated her badly, it doesn't mean that his actions have any truth associated with them. But in spite of what she says, she still values Donovan's treatment of her, his friendship. So Donovan tries not to push her too hard. He's grateful for the fact that he can talk to her over the phone and that they can share so much. So he values that, and he continues to talk to her over the phone and just allow the friendship to grow. But guess what? Thanksgiving is coming up. His parents are going to be in town, and he wants to invite Jennifer to come visit. So he talks to her on the phone and says, "Hey, my parents are going to be in town. They're coming for Thanksgiving. I'd like you to come over." And guess what? She accepts. And Donovan is just so happy right now. So Donovan, he approaches me and he tells me the entire story, and he says exactly how he feels about her. And to my surprise, he takes out a ring, and I'm like, and I said, "Isn't it a bit too early for this?" And he says, no, I have to do this. She has been through a very painful experience, and there's a large wound on her. A piece of her heart is missing. It was ripped out. And in order for her to heal, that hole in her heart needs to be repaired. And I think this is the way to do it. But I have this one opportunity to do it, and I have to do it right. And I'd like you to help me write a song for her. And I know we only have 2 weeks, but it has to be a good song, a very good song that will just help her to make that decision and basically bring to a completion what we've spent all these months developing. A friendship that has gotten to the point where it's more than a friendship, but because of that hole in her heart, she's finding it hard to take that next step. So I need you to help me write that song. So I say to him, "No problem, bro. I got you. I'll start working on the song right away." And so this is a song I came up with. Inside, you've lost a piece of your heart, Will you be mine? I'll stay by your side. I'll be your strength, your shoulder to cry. Give me the chance to feel that place in your heart. Mine. You and I know you're asking why. I feel your pain in my heart. By your side is where I want to be. I need to bring back your smile. Smile, will you be mine? I'll stay by your side. I'll be your strength, your shoulder to cry. Give me the chance to feel that place in your heart. Give me that place in your heart. I need that place in your heart. Give me that place in your heart. I need that place in your heart. So here we are. Now you know I'll never go away. Give me your heart and be mine, mine. Stay by your side. Give me the chance. I wanna love you and hold you. Won't you be my amazing love?